Hey everyone, we're still in Los Angeles. We just did a big live show, very successful, thanks to you guys. Thank you so much. But I'm talking to you because, as you can see, we are very much not in our regular setting right here. We're actually at an Airbnb doing all this recording, so I just wanted to let you know that I realize that we are not at the quality that we usually are. I have standards. I know we're not meeting them, but we're going to try to bring you some good content anyway. So just want to remind you, and also, again, thank you, LA, for the love that you gave us. Couldn't have asked for anything more. Can't wait to come back, and can't wait to see you in other shows on our tour. Thanks, guys. Welcome, everyone, to this very special stream. I don't even know what to look. We're all set up in here really weird right now.
I'm going to look over here.
Yeah. Looks like we're about to get assassinated by the gay army or get executed by the gay army. We're in front of a pink assassination, our execution wall right here.
Gay ISIS video.
They just gave up cleaning. This is just the natural color now.
We're not at the studio. We're not even in Austin, where we usually are. We're actually still in LA, and yay! Damn, girl, you got your shades on and everything. Yes, was it weekend? Did you go that hard?
Right? Yeah, apparently.
I have to.
I'm Corey Coleman. Over here, I have Mia.
Hi, guys.
And then we have
Christopher Juicy Herman. Hello, everybody.
Hollywood Herman.
Hollywood Herman. Yeah, I'm a man of many names.
It looks great, Corey. You can call me Bryce. Bryce. Yes, Bryce. How you doing, man? Bryce, yeah, the quality of the cameras are good no matter where you go. I just wish we had a better setup because people who watch the stream when they come on, and I'm doing more stuff on Twitch now because we're actually making the transition. So I just said, instead of trying to plan a show on our site, which is a little harder, just put up Twitch and just start streaming with you guys, man. But thank you for the compliment on the quality, man. These are some good cameras that we have, and they're great, and they're very mobile, and all this stuff has been wonderful. Did you guys talk about Francis Ford Coppola? Man, dude.
He did the same thing that Martin Scorsese said. It's the same thing. It's an older director who doesn't really understand these films, and he's set in his ways. Now, look, he's made some of the greatest movies of all time, but that doesn't give him the right to then say, this is not cinema. I think that's a completely ridiculous statement to make.
Yeah.
Even though he's made some of the greatest movies of all time, and a lot of respect for that, but it's just ignorant and very arrogant to say.
Yeah, and time changes. So everything changes, you know.
I'm going to be upfront with y'all, man, and just tell you something. Since we are... Now, this is, again, this is not very produced. It's not very professional. I like having things a little more slick when we talk about topics. But we'll just have to jump into this real quick before we go. Because I read that this morning, man. There's certain things that happen when directors of a certain stature from a certain period say something. And Francis Ford Coppola, man, has given us such legendary films as Apocalypse Now, The Godfather 1 and 2, 3. He's given us great classics like Jack. Probably the pinnacle of his career.
I think so. Yeah, see Rob Williams acting more like a fool.
The crown jewel of his resume, his film, his cinematic resume.
I think so.
I'm gonna tell you something, and I want to get your opinion on this. You already gave some of it out there, but I'm gonna, just to expand on this. Look, Francis Ford Coppola, he came in. And some people say, well, he backed Martin Scorsese up on what he said about Marvel movies not being cinema but theme park rides. He did not back up what Martin Scorsese said. He doubled down on the shit. He said, no, he's being nice. I'm gonna be an asshole about this shit and tell you how I feel.
Tell you the way it is.
Tell you the way it is. Listen, I'm old Hollywood.
Like I'm more brave.
I made The Godfather, goddammit. Yeah. So my word is final.
Okay, 40 goddamn years ago.
Yeah. I can guarantee you, Martin Scorsese has made more movies recently that are more memorable than Francis Ford Coppola has made in the last probably 10 years.
When was the last good film that he made? Oh, like wasn't this decade? Wasn't this decade? Wasn't the decade before? Was it Apocalypse Now? I think I'm being serious. I think it might have been Apocalypse Now.
He makes wines now. I don't know.
Yeah,
he makes wine.
Oh, that's great.
That's what he's.
Maybe a wine connoisseur would be like, well, this isn't wine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's only type of wine I drink is French wine. This is American bullshit.
Yeah, no, this isn't real wine.
His wines are not that expensive, so yeah.
Well, good, because he's doing enough whining for everybody right now. What Francis Ford Coppola did, I'm looking at this on the news.yahoo.com. is that he went in and he doubled down on what Martin Scorsese said about cinema. Francis Ford Coppola went as far as not only are they not cinema, but they're despicable.
Despicable films, okay.
Yeah, the Marvel movies are despicable. Let me see what he says here.
Damn.
He's 80 years old, and here's what he has to say about it. Again, I'm reading this on news.yahoo.com. When Martin Scorsese says that the Marvel pictures are not cinema, he's right because we expect to learn something from cinema. We expect to gain something, some enlightenment, some knowledge, some inspiration. I don't know that anyone gets anything out of seeing the same movie over and over and over again. Coppola said he was working on his biggest project yet, Megalopolis. Good, because you're a megalomaniac.
Yeah. And that ego.
I want to make a film about a human expression of what really heaven is on earth is like.
Okay.
But he says here, he says Martin was kind when he says that it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable, which I say it is.
I just say it as a... I mean, I can see what he means, but it's like a very old way of looking at things. Like, it's like, I don't like change. This is different than what I know, and like, I don't like it.
My whole thing is that, look, you can dislike the Marvel movies. That's totally fine. I'm never going to like, okay, that's just his opinion on the matter, but I don't like the idea of these people who have been a part of Hollywood, have been filmmakers for so long, that they feel like because of their seniority, that gives them the right to define what and what is not film. Yeah. I think that is thoroughly ridiculous, and it shows just how ignorant that they are right now. Because back in the day, when they first started out, when you had Spielberg or Martin Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola, whoever else, they were criticized by even older directors for their films. Like that's not filmmaking, that's not cinema. Spielberg went through the same exact stuff with Jaws or Close Encounters of the Third Kind. George Lucas, like all these people, suddenly now are at a point in their careers they're acting the same way that those directors who originally criticized them. That is very disappointing, and they're being extremely hypocritical. Yeah, so it's frustrating. And look, and that's fine. They can believe that, but I just don't like that they're suddenly saying what and what is not film.
I'm going to tell you.
They're like the authorities.
And they're not.
And I'm going to tell you this much with it, too. You got Martin Scorsese, who's always kind of stayed true to his vision.
Yeah, it's fine.
He hasn't really gone down and catered to what Hollywood is now. It may be a little bit, but he's always made what Martin Scorsese makes.
What he's passionate about.
What he's passionate about. Yeah. Martin Scorsese ain't never gone and made some shit like Jack.
Has given us all an internal clock.
I'm telling you, he's our age, but he looks 40.
Oh boy.
Jack wasn't nothing but a more mentally challenged Big.
He really was, yeah.
He really was. And I don't know what kind of enlightenment you got from that. The movie's not very good. I don't know what kind of enlightenment you got from that. I don't know how this is what's supposed to change cinema. I don't know what kind of cultural impact some shit like this had. Hey, listen, I'm gonna come out and say what a lot of people feel like they can't say because they feel like they have to be respectful to these directors. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like just because somebody is in their 80s and they've made a lot of classic films that we always have to bow down to everything they say because, like you said, they see themselves as the authority.
Yeah.
I made all these classic movies, so now I know what real cinema is. Now get the fuck out of here, man. I will agree on certain terms that, maybe these are formulaic, they're repetitive. I will even agree with you on the business that they had taken over theaters where it is pushing out other movies that are not big huge blockbusters are
medium budget films.
Genre movies and whatnot. I mean, the business is changing in a way where some people can be scared about it. Or we could just say it's different.
Yeah.
But say that. Say it's not for me. Say it's different. Don't come in and say that, I don't believe these things are legit because they don't fit my criteria of what cinema is.
Nobody said Marvel movies are like art movies or anything like that. It's out there to please their crowd and have some fun. That's all. But it doesn't mean that they're not cinema.
I told you I went to go see. My mother saw Black Panther twice. The second time I went to see it with her. And I got to see all these families all these people who went to go see this movie because it meant something to them. And it had a huge cultural impact. And it was something where we've seen black people in dramas and historical films. We've seen them in documentaries. We've always seen them be subjects of victimization.
Sure, yeah.
We haven't always seen them be heroes. I don't think Martin Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola, I don't think that they know what the fuck they're talking about when they say that this means nothing to anyone, because it meant something to a whole race of people to see themselves portrayed as superheroes.
No, exactly. Even other Marvel films have examined things within our culture. Like Captain America: The Winter Soldier was, it examined politics and the idea of censorship and things like that. And other films where even if it's like more comedic or something, like Avengers, like those dynamics of those characters they've cultivated over all these years, they mean something to people. And to say that they don't mean something, it's like, okay, well, you haven't watched it or you don't want to watch it. That's what's frustrating.
Can I just say what everybody's scared to say because they want to be respectful? Fuck it, I can respect the films and I can still call your ass old and out of touch.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. I'm sorry people think that that's just that's a cop-out answer, but it is. Martin Scorsese is making great movies, but he's making great movies that he feels like suit him, and that's fine. He's a great filmmaker. I even say Francis Ford Coppola, you can never take that away from him. But as far as what's happening now in cinema, they are right to bring up some things that are changing cinema. They have a legitimate point in that area. But to sit up here and say these movies mean nothing, that they're not cinema, the theme park rides, they're despicable, that's where your age is showing. You are old and out of touch. And I'm sorry, I can say that respectfully.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if people don't want to say that shit. These Marvel movies are exploring areas that a lot of other places are scared to. You know what Marvel movies are like? They're like science fiction from back in the 70s and 80s.
Which were criticized.
And 50s, which were criticized. Because those movies explored areas of politics, gender, culture, race relations. Twilight Zone was all about that. There were sci-fi movies that were all about that, and that is what Marvel movies are kind of like. Sure, they're formulaic and whatnot, and because people try to like write them off, they don't even see how they are including a lot of diversity, talking about a lot of things where they're including people who have never seen themselves in these positions before in cinema. So to sit up here and say that they are not cinema, these movies are probably changing cinema more than any of you motherfuckers are changing it right now.
Yeah, you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And Francis Ford Coppola hasn't made a movie that anybody has remembered in the last 10 years or 15 years because he's out there trying to do some art shit and whatnot, and that's fine. That's fine.
Not taking that away from him.
Not taking that away from him at all, but just, I get your point, but don't dismiss this shit like it ain't, like it's nothing, especially don't call it despicable. There's a lot of things that are out there that are despicable. ISIS is despicable.
Yes.
Pedophilia is despicable. Not a rape
genre
is despicable.
Not a genre of film that you don't particularly like.
Marvel ain't raped or beheaded anybody or anything.
No.
They are not. Maybe Thanos came and snapped out the population, but we got it back.
Yeah, we did. But again, that's just someone who's speaking in very hyperbolic terms because they don't really understand what they're talking about. They don't realize what they're saying because they've existed in this. They've had this stature for so long that they don't see what's actually in front of them.
Different times.
Yeah.
Time has changed, but they're still in the past. So.
Get out of here with this, man. I'm tired of you. Stop. And then stop acting like people don't have anything to say. I remember, Martin kind of got frustrated with us because he was like, y'all are just taking his words and putting it out, and you're twisting around, taking it out of context. And well, I think when you say despicable, that's about as straightforward as you can get.
I think so, yeah. And Martin Scorsese even, further provided more context to his statements later on. People ask him about it, and he's like, okay, so you're basically saying that they just aren't cinema or film. Not saying that's your opinion or anything. No, you're definitively saying that.
Even the Spider-Man movies are coming of age movies.
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to say that Into the Spider-Verse is not cinema, not culturally relevant or anything like that?
And not art.
And not art. It's like, that's ridiculous.
It's fucking art.
It is.
Oh, let me get out of here. I want to end this on a good note.
They're around here. Coppola and Scorsese. Let's interview them, Corey. Let's get a hold of them.